Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that for the past 10 years, you've been handing over the steering wheel of your life to everyone else but you. Every decision, every emotion, every reaction controlled by circumstances, by people who wronged you, by the past you refuse to let go of. Now here's the question. How much longer are you willing to live like that? How much longer will you allow yourself to be dragged through life instead of driving it? Most people don't even notice it happening. They slip into it quietly. First, it's the blame. If only my parents had supported me. If only my boss recognized my worth. If only they hadn't hurt me. Then it becomes excuses. I can't change because I don't have the time. I can't succeed because I don't have the resources. I can't be happy because life is unfair. And before they know it, they've built a prison with their own words, and they're holding the key. Here's the truth most won't want to hear. No one is coming to rescue you. No miracle, no person, no hand from the sky is going to reach down and pull you out. If you want change, if you want freedom, if you want to finally take control, you have to stop waiting and start acting. That shift, that decision, that moment where you say, enough, I refuse to be a victim of my past, of people, of circumstances. That is where your real life begins. And tonight, we're going to talk about how you make that shift. Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. Because the longer you wait, the more power you give away. And the one thing you cannot afford to keep giving away is your power. You can always tell when someone is living in a victim mindset, because the first thing they do when life doesn't go their way is point their finger outward. It's always someone else's fault. Their boss doesn't appreciate them. Their partner doesn't support them. Their parents didn't raise them right. Their friend betrayed them. Life is unfair. The world is against them. And they carry that story like a badge of honor. But here's what they don't realize. Every time they tell that story, they're giving away their power. They're saying, I'm not in control of my life. Other people are. And that is the fastest way to stay stuck exactly where you are. Victim mentality is seductive. It feels safe because you don't have to take responsibility. If it's always someone else's fault, then you don't have to look in the mirror. You don't have to face your own decisions, your own habits, your own choices. Blame becomes a shield. But here's the problem with that shield. It doesn't protect you. It traps you. It keeps you small. It keeps you powerless. It convinces you that your life is something that just happens to you instead of something you can shape. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say, I could have been successful if only I had the right connections. I could have been happy if only this person didn't hurt me. I could have been free if only life treated me better. That if only is poison. It sounds harmless, but every time you say it, you're building a wall around yourself. You're telling yourself you can't move forward until something outside of you changes. And if you wait for the world to change before you do, you'll be waiting forever. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Life is unfair. People will hurt you. Opportunities will slip away. Things you never saw coming will knock you down so hard you can barely breathe. But what separates those who rise from those who stay broken isn't what happened to them, it's what they decided to do with it. Some people take their pain and build strength. Others take their pain and build excuses. The first group moves forward. The second group stays exactly where they are, repeating the same story over and over again until it becomes their identity. And that's what you need to understand. The victim mentality isn't just a way of thinking, it's an identity. Once you accept it, it seeps into everything. You start to see yourself as unlucky, as powerless, as doomed to fail. You expect betrayal, you expect rejection, you expect defeat. And because you expect it, you unconsciously look for it. You train your brain to notice only the things that confirm your story. Someone compliments you and you dismiss it. Someone criticizes you and you cling to it as proof that you were right all along. And before you know it, you've created a cycle where your own beliefs keep you trapped in the very pain you want to escape. I want you to ask yourself something. What do you gain from staying a victim? Because whether you realize it or not, there's a payoff. Maybe it's attention. People feel sorry for you. They comfort you. They validate your pain. Maybe it's the comfort of low expectations. As long as you're the victim, no one can demand more of you, not even yourself. You don't have to take risks. You don't have to face failure. You don't have to stretch beyond your limits. But that comfort is an illusion, because while you sit in it, life is passing you by. Recognizing the victim mentality means being brutally honest with yourself. It means catching the moments when you say, I can't, because, and questioning whether that's really true or just an excuse. It means noticing when you're more invested in telling your story of suffering than actually changing it. It means admitting that maybe, just maybe, the biggest obstacle in your life isn't the people around you or the world itself, it's you. That's a hard pill to swallow, but it's the first step to freedom. Think about the strongest people you know, the ones you admire. Do you think they got there by blaming the world? No, they got there by taking ownership. They looked at their circumstances, no matter how unfair, no matter how painful, and decided, this is not the end of me. I will not be defined by this. And that choice is what separates leaders from victims, survivors from quitters, creators from complainers. The moment you recognize you're living in a victim mentality, you gain a choice. You can keep feeding it, keep telling the same story, keep letting it drain the life out of you. Or you can decide that you're done, that you've wasted enough years, enough energy, enough opportunities on a mindset that's never going to get you where you want to be. That recognition is like flipping on a light in a dark room. You suddenly see all the ways you've been holding yourself back. It's uncomfortable, it's painful, but it's also liberating. Because once you see it, you can change it. And here's what's powerful. You don't have to erase your past to stop being a victim. You don't have to pretend it didn't happen. You don't have to deny the pain. What you have to do is stop carrying it like a weapon against yourself. Stop using it as the reason you can't move forward. Start seeing it as the reason you must move forward. Because every time you let the past dictate your future, you're living as a prisoner. But the moment you take ownership, you start living as a warrior. Victim mentality tells you that you're powerless. But the truth is, the very fact that you can recognize it means you are not. You have awareness, you have choice, you have the ability to rewrite the story. But it begins with honesty. The honesty to say, yes, bad things happen to me. Yes, people hurt me. But no, that is not the end of my story. The victim mindset is not who you are. It's a habit you learned. And if you learned it, you can unlearn it. The question is, will you? When you strip everything down, life comes back to one word: responsibility. And not the kind that people like to talk about, the surface level, convenient kind, where you take credit when things go well, but blame when things go wrong falls on everyone else. No, I'm talking about radical responsibility, the type that demands you stop pointing fingers outward and start pointing them inward. The kind that forces you to look in the mirror and say, if my life isn't where I want it to be, that's on me. Most people can't stomach that kind of truth. It's too heavy. It feels unfair. But the irony is, it's the most liberating decision you'll ever make. See, as long as you're blaming, you're powerless. When you say, I can't succeed because of my parents, you've handed your future to the past. When you say, I can't move forward because of my boss, you've put your career in someone else's hands. When you say, I can't be happy because of what happened to me, you've chained your joy to a memory. Radical responsibility is about cutting those chains. It's about saying whatever happened, happened. But what I choose to do about it now, that's on me. Here's the harsh truth. Nobody is coming to save you. Not the government, not your friends, not your family, not your partner. Waiting for someone to rescue you is a waste of your most valuable resource, time. Every day you wait is a day you could have been building, learning, pushing, growing. Responsibility doesn't mean everything that happened to you was your fault. It means that what happens next is your choice, and that distinction matters. because people confuse responsibility with blame. They think if they take responsibility, they're admitting they deserve the pain or they caused it. No, responsibility isn't about guilt. It's about power. It's about taking back control over what you do with the hand you've been dealt. Think about this. Imagine you're dealt a bad set of cards in a game. You didn't choose them. It wasn't fair. But what sense does it make to throw them down, complain, and storm out of the room? That doesn't win you the game. What wins is learning how to play with what you've got. That's life. You don't get to choose every circumstance, but you always get to choose your response. And the moment you realize that is the moment you become unstoppable. But here's why most people resist this idea. Because responsibility feels like work. It means you have to confront your habits. It means you have to own the times you were lazy, the times you avoided hard conversations, the times you wasted opportunities, the times you let fear dictate your choices. Nobody likes admitting that. It's easier to stay in the comfort of excuses. Excuses protect your ego. They let you sleep at night, but they also rob you of growth. Every excuse you make buys you comfort now, but costs you your future later. Radical responsibility means you stop asking who's to blame and start asking, what can I do? That simple shift is life-changing. You stop waiting for apologies that may never come. You stop waiting for circumstances to be perfect. You stop waiting for motivation to magically appear. You start moving. You start building, you start creating momentum. And the beauty of momentum is that once you start, you don't want to stop. Responsibility doesn't weigh you down. It gives you wings. Let's be clear, this doesn't mean life becomes easy. It doesn't mean you'll never struggle again. It means you stop lying to yourself about who's in charge. You take ownership of the struggle. You look at setbacks as your training ground. You stop asking, why me? Start asking, why not me? If someone's going to handle this, why can't it be me? That's the mindset shift that separates people who stay stuck from those who rise. And here's something people rarely think about. When you refuse to take responsibility, you're not just hurting yourself. You're hurting everyone around you. Because whether you like it or not, people are watching you. Your kids, your friends, your coworkers, they're watching how you respond when life knocks you down. And when you refuse to own your role, you're teaching them to do the same. But when you step up, when you take responsibility, when you say, I'm going to lead myself first, you give others permission to do the same. Responsibility is contagious, and so is blame. Which one do you want to spread? Taking radical responsibility also means taking ownership of your energy, who you let in your life, how you spend your time, what you feed your mind. You can't blame toxic people if you keep inviting them back. You can't blame your lack of growth if you spend your free hours scrolling, gossiping, numbing yourself. Every yes and every no is your responsibility. Your boundaries or lack of them are your responsibility. And until you admit that, you'll keep giving away your peace to people who don't deserve it. Most people live like passengers in their own lives. They sit in the back seat complaining about the driver, shouting directions, crying about the destination. Radical responsibility means you stop being a passenger and grab the wheel. You don't like where you're going? Turn. You don't like who's in the car? Let them out. You don't like the speed? Change it. Nobody else can do that for you. It's your wheel, your road, your journey. Here's the truth you have to let sink in. You are where you are today because of the choices you made yesterday. And where you'll be tomorrow depends on the choices you make today. That's not meant to shame you. That's meant to empower you. Because if your choices created the life you don't like, then new choices can create the life you want. Responsibility isn't a punishment. It's a gift. It means you don't have to wait for anyone else to change. You don't have to wait for the world to fix itself. You can start right now. So the next time you hear yourself say, I can't, because stop, ask yourself, is this the truth, or is this me avoiding responsibility? Most of the time it's the latter. And that awareness is your moment of power, because from there you get to choose differently. You get to stop being the victim of your own excuses and start being the leader of your own life. The bottom line is this: nobody is responsible for your life but you. Not your past, not your pain, not your family, not your boss, not your partner. You. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll discover the freedom you've been looking for all along. Responsibility is not a burden. It's the key. The key to taking control, the key to growth, the key to a life that actually feels like yours. The only question is, are you willing to pick it up? Your mind is the most powerful weapon you will ever own, but most people treat it like an unlocked house. Anyone can walk in, doubt, fear, negativity, comparison, the opinions of others, and before they know it, they're living with intruders who tell them what they can and can't do. If you want to take control of your life and stop being a victim, you have to reprogram your mindset. Because the way you think is the way you live. Your thoughts are not harmless. They are blueprints. They shape your choices, your habits, your identity, and ultimately your destiny. If your mind is full of defeat, you will live defeated. If your mind is full of power, you will live powerful. Here's the thing, most people don't choose their thoughts. They let their environment choose for them. They absorb negativity from social media, from gossip, from the news, from the people they surround themselves with. They internalize messages from childhood, voices that told them they weren't enough, weren't smart enough, weren't worthy. They repeat these stories in their heads until they sound like facts. But just because you've thought something 1,000 times doesn't make it true. It just makes it familiar. And familiarity is dangerous because your brain craves it, even if it's killing your potential. Reprogramming your mindset starts with awareness. You have to notice the script running in your head. Ask yourself, what do I tell myself when I fail? Do I say, I'm not good enough, I'll never get it right? Or do I say, this is feedback, this is growth, I'll learn and get stronger? The words you choose in those moments will decide whether you spiral downward or rise higher. A victim mindset says, this happened, so I'm done. A powerful mindset says, this happened, so now I begin. But awareness isn't enough. You can't just notice toxic thoughts. You have to replace them. Think of it like renovating a house. If the foundation is cracked and the walls are rotting, you don't just stand there staring at the damage. You tear down what doesn't serve you and you build again. That means every time you hear yourself saying, I can't, you challenge it. You ask, is that really true? Or is that fear talking? Every time you hear I'm not worthy, you counter it with I am worthy and I prove it by the way I live. Every time your brain feeds you a limitation, you feed it back a possibility. Some people roll their eyes at affirmations. They think it's cheesy, repeating things like I am strong, I am capable. But here's the reality, your brain is already repeating affirmations. They just happen to be negative. I'm not enough, I'll never make it, people don't respect me. You've been affirming those for years. And look where it's gotten you. So why not deliberately program something better? Words are commands. Say something often enough, and your brain starts to believe it. Believe it long enough, and you start to act on it consistently, and it becomes who you are. That's how identity is built. Not overnight, not by luck. By repetition. Of course, it's not just about words. Your actions train your mindset too. If you want to stop thinking like a victim, stop acting like one, stop waiting for motivation and start building discipline. Get up earlier than you want to. Push yourself harder than you feel like. Keep promises to yourself, even when it's inconvenient. Every time you do something hard, every time you push through resistance, you're teaching your brain a new story. I can do hard things. I can handle discomfort. I am not fragile. I am powerful. That story becomes your truth. Your environment matters just as much. You can't reprogram your mind while you're surrounding yourself with people who reinforce the old code. If everyone around you is negative, complaining, blaming the world, guess what? You will start doing the same. Your brain is wired to mirror the people closest to you. So if you're serious about reprogramming your mindset, you need to take a hard look at who has access to you. Do they challenge you or drain you? Do they build you or break you? If you want to think differently, you need to put yourself around people who live differently. People who expect more of themselves, who speak power into their lives, who live with intention. That energy rewires you. Another piece most people ignore is what they consume daily. You feed your body junk food, it breaks down. You feed your mind junk content, it weakens. Hours of scrolling, comparing, arguing online, that's mental poison. But if you feed your mind books, ideas, wisdom, and challenges, it grows sharper. Every time you choose to learn instead of numb, to reflect instead of distract, to invest in yourself instead of waste your time, you're rewiring your brain for strength. Now let's be real. Reprogramming your mindset isn't easy. Your brain will resist. It's wired to keep you comfortable, even if comfortable means miserable. You'll catch yourself slipping back into old patterns, doubting, complaining, blaming. That's normal. Change isn't about never falling. It's about noticing faster and getting back up stronger. Every time you redirect your thoughts, you're building new neural pathways. Science calls it neuroplasticity. I call it proof that you are not stuck. Your brain can change. You can change. Here's the key: consistency. You can't just decide one day to think positively and expect your life to transform. Just like you don't build muscle by going to the gym once, you don't build a powerful mindset by doing the work once. You do it daily, hourly, moment by moment, until one day you catch yourself responding differently. You face rejection, and instead of crumbling, you push harder. You face setbacks, and instead of saying, "Why me?" you say, "Try me." That's when you know the program has changed. The old mindset was built on fear, excuses, and blame. The new one is built on courage, responsibility, and resilience. The old one kept you trapped. The new one sets you free. And the beautiful thing is, you're the programmer. No one else can do it for you, but no one else can stop you either. It's your choice. Every thought you entertain is a vote for the kind of person you become. So ask yourself, what kind of story do you want to live? The story of a victim who let life happen to them, or the story of a fighter who took control, rewrote their code, and built something unstoppable? Your mind is listening. What are you going to tell it? The past has a way of holding people hostage. It lingers in the background like a shadow, whispering reminders of every mistake, every betrayal, every failure. And if you let it, it will convince you that you are nothing more than the sum of what has already happened to you. That is how people stay stuck. They replay old conversations, old wounds, old regrets, as if dragging yesterday into today will somehow make tomorrow better. But here's the truth. The past is over. It is done. It cannot be undone, rewritten, or relived. And the longer you chain yourself to it, the longer you deny yourself the future you deserve. Breaking free from the past does not mean pretending it never happened. It does not mean erasing it from your memory. It means refusing to give it power over the choices you make today. Too many people live like prisoners of old events. They walk around with invisible chains tied to people who are no longer in their lives, tied to mistakes that happened decades ago, tied to stories that should have ended long ago. And yet, because they keep holding on, they bring those chains into every new opportunity, every new relationship, every new moment. How can you step into something new if you're still dragging the weight of what's old? Some people wear their past like armor. They use it to explain why they don't trust, why they don't try, why they don't dream anymore. I was hurt before, so I can't open up. I failed once, so I won't risk it again. They betrayed me, so I'll never trust anyone again. On the surface, that sounds like self-protection. In reality, it's self-destruction, because when you build walls to keep the pain out, you also keep the possibilities out. You're not protecting yourself. You're imprisoning yourself. The truth is, pain from the past will visit you, but it doesn't have to live with you. You are the landlord of your own mind and heart. You decide what stays and what goes. Forgiveness plays a big role here, not because the people who hurt you deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Forgiveness is not about them. It's about you. It's about cutting the cord that keeps you bound to them, refusing to let their actions dictate your future. You can either keep carrying that bitterness and let it poison every new chapter, or you can release it and move forward lighter, stronger, freer. And let's be clear, breaking free from the past isn't just about people. It's also about the version of yourself you used to be. Many people are haunted not by what others did, but by what they themselves did or failed to do. They live in regret. If only I had made a different choice. If only I had been braver, smarter, stronger. They replay scenarios over and over, as if rewinding them in their head will somehow rewrite the outcome. But regret is a trap. You cannot go back. You cannot undo. All you can do is take the lesson, carry the wisdom, and use it to create something better now. The past was a classroom. Don't turn it into a prison. One of the hardest truths to accept is that sometimes you have to let go of identities tied to your past. Maybe you've been telling yourself for years, I'm the person who always struggles, or I'm the one who never gets it right, or I'm the victim of what happened to me. That story becomes comfortable because it's familiar. But familiar doesn't mean healthy. Familiar doesn't mean true. Familiar just means repeated. If you want freedom, you have to be willing to outgrow the identity that your past gave you. You are not obligated to be who you used to be. Breaking free also means watching how you speak about your past. Some people love retelling their pain because it gives them sympathy, attention, validation. But every time you retell it, you reopen it. Every time you make it your story, you keep it alive. The past should be a chapter in your book, not the entire book. Learn to tell a new story, the story of how you rose, how you learned, how you overcame. That shift changes everything. Not just for you, but for everyone who hears you. And here's something powerful to remember. The past cannot hurt you anymore, unless you allow it. The only place it still exists is in your mind. And if it lives in your mind, then you control it. You decide whether it's a weight or a weapon, a curse or a catalyst. Many of the greatest people in history carried painful pasts, abuse, failure, betrayal, loss, but they refused to let it define them. Instead, they used it as fuel. They said, if I survive that, I can survive anything. If I overcame that, I can overcome this. That is the mindset shift that turns scars into strength. Breaking free doesn't mean you'll never think about it again. It means that when the memory comes, it doesn't control you. It means you can look at it without bitterness, without fear, without letting it dictate your choices. It means the grip is gone. And once the grip is gone, your hands are free to build something new. Ask yourself, how much of your life right now is being controlled by ghosts? How many opportunities have you missed because you were too busy looking backward? How many relationships have you sabotaged because you carried someone else's betrayal into them? How many dreams have you abandoned because a past failure convinced you it wasn't worth trying again? And then ask yourself, how much longer are you willing to pay the price for something that's already over? The past is a teacher, not a master. It's there to shape you, not shackle you. Every painful moment you've lived through has already been paid for in time, in tears, in energy. Why keep paying interest on a debt that's already been settled? It's time to break free. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Because as long as you're looking back, you're missing what's in front of you. Your past is a place of reference, not residence. Visit it for lessons, but don't live there. Your life is happening now. Your future is waiting now, but it will not wait forever. The longer you cling to yesterday, the more you sacrifice what could be, so make the choice, release the chains, drop the weight, and step forward. Because you are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to do with it. To build a life of power and purpose, you first have to understand that power is not about controlling others, and purpose is not about impressing others. Power comes from within, from discipline, clarity, and the ability to stand firmly on your own values. Purpose is not given to you by society, by family, or by some external authority. It is discovered within yourself when you ask, what am I here for? What kind of life do I want to create? What legacy do I want to leave behind? A life of power and purpose does not happen by accident. It is built brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. The mistake many people make is waiting for life to hand them purpose. They wait for the right job, the right partner, the right circumstances, thinking that only when everything lines up will they feel powerful and purposeful. But life does not work that way. Power and purpose are not delivered to you. They are created by you. Every time you decide to take ownership of your choices instead of blaming others, you build power. Every time you align your actions with your values instead of following the crowd, you build purpose. These are daily intentional decisions that shape who you become. Living with power means understanding that you are the driver of your own life. You cannot control what others do, but you can control how you respond. You cannot control the challenges that appear, but you can control whether you rise to meet them or shrink away. Power is not the absence of obstacles. It is the refusal to let those obstacles dictate your direction. When you live this way, people notice, they respect you, not because you demand it, but because you embody strength, resilience, and confidence. That kind of power is magnetic. It draws opportunities, it inspires others, and it reinforces your own sense of worth. Purpose, on the other hand, is what gives meaning to that power. Without purpose, power can easily become empty, selfish, or destructive. Purpose ensures that your strength is directed towards something greater than yourself. It could be raising a family with love and integrity, building a business that impacts lives, creating art that moves people, or serving a cause that outlives you. Purpose does not have to be grand in the eyes of the world. It just has to be true in your heart. When you live with purpose, you wake up with direction. Even on hard days, you know why you are doing what you're doing. That why gives you endurance that talent alone cannot provide. But building a life of power and purpose requires letting go of distractions. Too often, people trade their purpose for comfort, for approval, for instant gratification. They scroll away their time, gossip away their energy, or chase empty recognition that leaves them hollow. A purposeful life demands focus. It demands the courage to say no to things that don't align with your vision. It demands discipline, the willingness to do the hard, unglamorous work when no one is watching. Power and purpose are not built in the spotlight. They are built in the quiet consistency of your daily choices. Another key element is self-mastery. If you cannot master your thoughts, your emotions, your habits, then you will always be at the mercy of circumstances. Power is not about dominating others. It is about dominating the chaos inside yourself. It's about refusing to let anger make your choices, refusing to let fear control your steps, refusing to let laziness steal your future. When you master yourself, you become unshakable. People who live like this radiate a kind of power that no one can take away. Purpose also requires contribution. You cannot live a purposeful life if it is only about you. True fulfillment comes when your life touches others in a meaningful way. Think about the people who are remembered long after they are gone. It's not just because of what they achieved, but because of how they impacted others. Maybe they inspired someone, mentored someone, or sacrificed for something bigger than themselves. When you live with purpose, you think beyond your own comfort. You ask, how can I add value? How can I leave something behind that matters? That shift changes the way you work, the way you treat people, and the way you face challenges. Do not underestimate the role of vision. If you want to build a life of power and purpose, you must see it before you can live it. You need a vision so strong that it pulls you forward. Even when things get hard, without vision you drift. With vision you build. The clearer your vision, the stronger your purpose, and the more your power grows, because you are no longer living aimlessly, you are living intentionally. Of course, building this kind of life is not easy. There will be setbacks, doubts, and failures. But each setback is a test. Will you fold, or will you rise? Every failure is a lesson. Will you let it break you, or will you let it shape you? Power is forged in adversity. Purpose is clarified in struggle. The life you dream of is not built in comfort zones. It is built in the fire of challenges. That is why so many never achieve it. They want the reward without the process. But if you are willing to endure the process, if you are willing to fight for your vision, then you can build a life that most people only dream about. At the end of the day, a life of power and purpose is not about being perfect. It is about being committed. It is about waking up every day and choosing to live intentionally, choosing to align your actions with your values, choosing to grow instead of settle. When you live this way, you not only transform your own life, you inspire others to rise higher too. That is the kind of legacy worth leaving behind. So ask yourself, what are you building? Are you building excuses, or are you building strength? Are you building distractions, or are you building focus? Are you building a life that feels empty, or one that is filled with purpose? The choice is yours. And the sooner you take it seriously, the sooner you will experience the kind of life that most people spend their whole existence chasing, but never finding. A life of power and purpose is not given, it is built. And you can start building it today. Life will give you countless chances to play the victim, to shrink, to complain, to hand over your power. And most people will do just that. They will waste their years waiting for someone else to change their lives. But you are not most people. You are here because something inside of you knows there is more. Something inside of you refuses to stay small. Taking control of your life is not about luck. It's not about timing, and it's not about someone else giving you permission. It's about choice. Every day, every moment, you are choosing who you are becoming. And the truth is, the world will not remember you for the excuses you made. It will remember you for the courage you showed. So stop waiting for a rescue. Stop handing your power away. Stop living in the shadow of your past or the grip of your fears. Step up. Decide today that you will be the author of your own story, because the moment you stop being the victim and start being the driver of your own life, that is the moment you truly start living. And if you ever doubt whether you can do it, remember this. Strength is not something you are born with. It is something you build. Purpose is not something you find. It is something you create. Power is not given. It is claimed. And the only person who can claim it for you is you. Now the question is, will you claim it? Or will you spend the rest of your life waiting for someone else to?